What's going on, everyone? This is Dom, and today we're getting into my full review of the iPhone 6s and iPhone 6s Plus. And if you're on the fence about upgrading to Apple's latest and greatest smartphones, there are a few important things you need to know. On the surface, there's not much different with Apple's latest iPhone. It looks nearly identical, as we expect with S models, but there's a lot of tech on the inside that makes this model different. The question is, which of the following factors will justify this purchase or upgrade? Let's find out. If your plan was to strut around town hoping that people would notice your shiny new iPhone 6s, that likely won't be the case. This year's model looks just like its predecessor, and there's a small little awkwardly placed S on the backside to remind you just in case. But if you really want people to know you're the hot shot with the new iPhone, your best bet is to pick up the new rose gold color option. Hello? Hey, what's going on?
It is definitely pink.
Okay, it's pink. Whatever. iPhone colors aside, if you want to spice things up a little bit while adding some grip to your device, you can always throw on a D-brand skin like I have here, and if you want to check one out for yourself, I will leave a link below for you. Like last year, there are two iPhone sizes available. You have the iPhone 6s with a 4.7-inch display, 1334 by 750 resolution, and 326 pixels per inch. And then there's the iPhone 6s Plus with a 5.5-inch display, 1920 by 1080 resolution, and 401 pixels per inch. Both displays are super crispy, but that's especially true for the iPhone 6s Plus, though you're dealing with a much larger phone at that point. The real story with the iPhone 6s and 6s Plus lies in these small details and a few standout features. Let's start out with performance. These new iPhones are stupid fast. Inside you'll find Apple's A9 processor and 2 GB of RAM. That alone sounds cool, but the RAM management here is absolutely phenomenal. Benchmarks show very promising results, and overall, performance alone may be enough to upgrade if speed is what you desire. Everything is smooth and apps run like a champ with the new processor layout, and it's possible that the performance difference is worth the upgrade, but the iPhone 6 is still a very fast phone and happens to be a bit cheaper now. While the display resolution on these new iPhones are the same as last year, the actual display technology behind it is much different. This year, Apple has introduced a new 3D touch feature which will actually sense the amount of pressure applied to the screen with your finger and trigger various actions. Think of this as three options. You have a tap, a soft press, and a hard press, all of which can do different things depending on the amount of pressure applied and where the action is taking place. I recently put together a video rundown of the best 3D touch features available, and if you'd like to check that out, I will leave a link below for you. But I do have a few favorite features that I want to go over here as well. For example, you can get quick access to app-specific features with a hard press on the icon, which I enjoy to use with a few select apps because not many are compatible yet outside of these stock apps, but more apps are rolling out with support for this shortcut each day. You'll also have the ability to 3D touch on the keyboard when typing. With a soft press, you can use the keyboard as a trackpad to move the cursor around the screen, but with a hard press, you can easily select text from a line. Another one of my favorite features is quickly previewing links and other items. The same rules apply here. 3D touch on a link to pop open a small window, and then you can press even harder to pop it open into full browser mode. In most cases, it's not incredibly faster to use this feature, but it's handy nonetheless. 3D touch has potential for sure, but don't let it be the main reason you upgrade, because at the moment, without mainstream app support and innovative uses, it's not worth the hype. This will happen in time, but it's not here yet. Well, if 3D touch wasn't worth the upgrade, certainly the camera must be, right? The iPhone 6s and 6s Plus both feature an all-new 12-megapixel sensor this time around, which also shoots up to 4K video, but you'll only get optical image stabilization on the iPhone 6s Plus. Luckily, the iPhone 6s does utilize digital stabilization with 4K video recording to keep everything smooth, but it won't work like OIS does for low-light photos. The new camera also shoots higher resolution slow-mo video at 120 frames per second in 1080p, which is great, but it's not a huge selling point. Photos are natural looking and definitely work great if you're into doing a little post-production, and overall it spits out good looking images. Here's the problem. Apple's new sensor is great and the photos from it are totally nice and all, but it still falls short of other top shelf flagships like Samsung's Note 5 and Galaxy S6. And this is probably the first year where Apple's upgraded camera didn't whip the pants off its Android competitors. Don't get me wrong, photos and videos are super crispy, but if I had to choose just one camera to bring with me, it wouldn't be the iPhone 6s. And if you'd like to see a detailed camera comparison between the Note 5, Galaxy S6, iPhone 6s, and 6s Plus, be sure to hit that like button. On both of the devices, there's a 5-megapixel camera above the display with 720p video recording capabilities and what Apple is calling Retina Flash. It actually uses the screen and flashes the display 3 times brighter than usual, so you get a nice little selfie flash, but it's really not something that I'm gonna use very often, though it is kind of helpful. Speaking of camera features, Apple has a new live photos feature, which is pretty neat, but not something I'll use often. It'll allow you to take a normal photo, which can then be brought to life with audio and all by using 3D touch. You can share these live photos and even set them as wallpapers, though you'll have to 3D touch on the lock screen to see any movement from them. It's a pretty cool feature for some people, it's just not really for me. Touch ID improvements are also a big part of the iPhone 6s and 6s Plus. It's actually twice as fast over last year's model, and you can really tell the difference. Though gone are the days of quickly pressing the home button to view your notifications. It's that fast, and if I want to just check my notifications now, it's much easier to use my knuckle to press the home button or simply use the lock button on the side of the phone. But don't let Touch ID improvements be the reason you buy the new iPhone 6s or 6s Plus. If all of the reasons mentioned so far in the video aren't good enough to warrant buying the new iPhone, surely battery life has improved this time around, right? Nope, it's actually exactly the same, which is cool if you think about the extra tech packed inside, but no revolutionary breakthroughs here. I struggle to get a full day from the iPhone 6s, while the 6s Plus definitely lasts a day and then some. I'm just not a fan of how large the Plus model is. It's just not for me, but overall, battery life is exactly the same as last year. So basically, we've covered everything that would make the iPhone 6s and 6s Plus a worthy purchase or upgrade over its predecessor, but somehow it all feels lacking. 3D touch is cool and all, the camera has been bumped up and that's nice, and you definitely won't find a pink iPhone anywhere else, but none of these reasons scream out, buy me, buy me, buy me. If I'm you and I'm in the market to buy a new iPhone, unless I'm still rocking an iPhone 5s or anything lower than that, I'd save my money and wait. If you don't currently have an iPhone, these are pretty nice, but so are last year's models, and they're cheaper now too. Unfortunately, this is not the revolutionary smartphone upgrade you've been waiting for. So I hope you enjoyed my review of the iPhone 6s and 6s Plus, and if you did, feel free to leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not already for more reviews like this in the future. Thanks again for watching, everyone. This is Dom, and I'll catch you in the next video.